have no idea what is happening.
Little would anyone suspect that this small agricultural town, once known as Wineville, present-day Mira Loma, would be the home to a string of child abductions and killings. I'm Hosey, and today we're moseying on over to Mira Loma as well as some parts of LA to investigate the Wineville Chicken Coop Murders. So let's get into it. The Wineville Chicken Coop Murders took place across Southern California and claimed the lives of around 20 different boys. Now, in 1928, a 9-year-old boy by the name of Walter Collins disappeared. He was given some money to go to a movie in the nearby theater by his mom and was told to not be back any later than 11 p.m. However, a neighbor last saw him around 5 p.m. at this street corner, Avenue 23, North Avenue 23, and Pasadena Avenue. Right here was where he was last seen, and nobody knows where he went from there. So Walter's father was in prison, and his job at the prison was to report the infractions made by other inmates. So he definitely had some enemies. Therefore, it was very natural for both him as well as the police to think that this was some sort of scheme of revenge made by previous inmates. I just saw a girl wearing white pants in LA, and I'm like, how do you do it? How do you wear white pants? The instant I would wear white pants, I would get out of the car and smudge it somehow, some way, and completely destroy my entire look. Like, people who wear white pants, mad respect. Now, as the police were searching for Walter Collins, several leads started to come in, but none of them actually were proven to be completely necessary. And Walter was the only boy who was disappeared at this time. You have the case of the Wineville brothers, who just completely vanished. Then their parents started receiving bizarre letters from them saying that they were quote-unquote heading to Mexico or staying missing until they were becoming famous. And then we have the case of the headless body of a boy who was found in La Puente in February, and then bizarre complaints of this one neighbor that was complaining that he heard a man mistreating a boy in his chicken coop next door. None of the police actually put 2 and 2 together though, at least not yet.
A few moments later.
Here we have an interesting game of fill in the blank. And so now it is time to introduce the con artist of this century. Arthur Kent, a boy in Illinois, told authorities that he was the long-lost Walter Collins and had been disguising himself to protect his father. News of this got to California, and the boy was sent to the LAPD. The boy's mother, Christine Collins, was sent for and without hesitation denied that he was her son. However, Captain J.J. Jones convinced Christine to go ahead and just try out the boy for a little while. Why is this not an arrow at this intersection? Look at all these people. Hello? 3 weeks later, Christine Collins brought back the boy to the LAPD, demanding that he was not her son and provided dental records and signed statements to prove her case. Captain Jones called her a quote-unquote lunatic and stated that she was just wanting to embarrass the police department. So he sent her to a psych ward under the Code 12, which basically let the officers get rid of troublemakers by sending them to psychiatric hospitals. Now, in September 1928, a Canadian woman named Winifred Clark contacted U.S. authorities to tell them that her nephew had kidnapped and was holding her son, a Sanford Wesley Clark, in California. Jessie Clark, Sanford's sister, was worried about her 15-year-old brother since he left 2 years prior with their uncle, a Gordon Stewart Northcott, who was only 21 at the time. Jessie decided to go down to the Northcott's ranch in Wineville, California to check in on things. In the few days that she did stay, she found out her uncle was abusing her brother and was involved in something very strange. Her uncle even attacked her too. Now, Sanford explained to many police investigators that he was actually abducted by his uncle, Gordon, and here at his farm, he would physically and sexually abuse him. But not only that, Gordon would actually abduct boys and rape them and force Sanford to watch all of this. And Sanford explained that he abducted several boys, including Walter Collins and the Wineville brothers, and many, many others. Not only that, but Sanford was actually forced to do some of these actions as well, which was horrible, and I felt so sorry for him. So whenever Gordon got bored, he would quote unquote take the boys out to the chicken coop to watch a hatching of a chick and murder them inside that chicken coop, which is why it was called the Chicken Coop Murders. And so we're gonna go ahead and head back home to see what actually became of Gordon. And we made it back home. So in terms of Christine Collins, she basically was released from the psych ward shortly after Arthur's stepmom came from Illinois to come pick him up and took him back to Illinois. So she was eventually released. Now, with Gordon Northcott, he was arrested September 20th, 1928 in British Columbia. Now, in December of that same year, the police took him back to his ranch to kind of just get more information out of him. And while there, he confessed to at least 5 different murders. Now, Gordon's mother, Sarah Northcott, was also arrested with him, and she had professed that she was in on some of the action as well, saying that she had dealt the final blow to Walter Collins. And she also professed that there was some weird incestual thing happening, that maybe she wasn't actually his mother, but rather his grandmother, and that they had some weird incest relationship, which might be why he was so fucked up in the head. And then Gordon was convicted in 1930 and he was hung. So shortly after his execution, Wineville changed its name to Mira Loma, mainly because you had developed some sort of connotation there and they didn't want that to be associated with the murders anymore. So if you wanted to watch some sort of like cinematic drama regarding this entire story, you can watch The Changeling. We've got he's chasing something, he's like a lizard or something. But you can watch The Changeling, which basically outlines Christine Collins' adventures through all of this and how the LAPD really treated her. Anyways, I'll go ahead and put this story to rest. So I hope you guys found it at least fascinating, kind of discovering the dark history of some of these smaller towns or cities here in Southern California. So if you did enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want some more content just like this. Anyway, peace. I'll see you guys in the next one.